Hello. The confession. ได้แล้วบอกว่า That's called first A 1.5 to 4.5 by size Diavari C. And through it Thomas Kine watched the dark blue Alfa Romeo come down the hill toward Bellagio. Crosshairs cut Castelletti in the middle of his forehead, and a slight shift to the left took Loscani the same way. Then, after a glimpse of a carabiniere at the view, the vehicle passed, and he stood back. He was uncertain if today he should once again call himself S, because he was not sure whether logistics or circumstance would present him with his target. As for Sniper, it was a designation he gave himself when he prepared mentally and physically to kill from a distance. It had begun as a self-promotion to an elite corps after his first kill, shooting a fascist soldier from an office window in Santiago, Chile. In 1976, as the troops opened fire on a gathering of Marxist students, moving the sides down and to the right, he saw the Carabinieri command post set up just outside the long formal drive leading to the palatial lakeside estate known as a Lorenzi. Villa Lorenzi. A move to the right again, and the scope picked up the three police patrol boats idle in the water a quarter of a mile apart and 100 yards offshore. Through fellow Kai had learned that Villa Lorenzi was owned by the renowned Italian novelist Eros Barbu, and that Barbu was traveling in Western Canada and had not been at Villa Lorenzi since the previous New Year's Eve. when he had given his annual ball, one of the most famous events in all of Europe. In Babu's absence, Villa Lorenzi was managed by a black South African poet named Edward Moy, who left the free charge saw after the buildings and directed the staff of 20 full-time house help and gardeners and Muis, at Eros Babu's order had given the police permission to search the grounds. A formal statement from Babu's at- attorneys maintained that neither Babu nor Edward Mui ever knew or had heard of a Father Daniel Addison, and that neither they nor any of the staff were aware of anyone coming to Villa Lorenzi by boat. Most certainly not someone with a medical staff or full tending him. Easing back from his quirky easing back from his craggy perch on a wooded hill overlooking the villa, Thomas Kai lifted the scope again and saw Loscani's Alfa Romeo pull up to the command post just as Edward Mui came down from the main house at the view of a battered battered three-wheel maintenance vehicle that looked like an old Harley Davidson motorcycle towing the bed of a small dump truck. Kai smiled. The poet was wearing a khaki shirt, western jeans, and leather sandals. His long hair tied in a ponytail that dropped to his shoulders had touches of gray at the temples and gave him the appearance of a distinguished hippie or an aging biker. For a moment Louis and Loscani chatted. Then the poet climbed back on his vehicle and led Loscani's car and two large trucks filled with arms carabinieri back up the driveway and onto the grounds of the villa proper. Thomas Kai was certain the police would find nothing, but he was equally certain that his target was somewhere there or at a place close by. So he would wait and watch and then make his move. Patience was everything. Hefei China. The Overseas Chinese Hotel, Tuesday, July 14. Levin rolled over restless. It was hot and still, and he was unable to sleep. 30 seconds later, He rolled over again and looked at the clock. It was 12:30 in the morning. In 3 hours he would have to get up. In 4 he would be at work. He lay back. This night more than any he needed to sleep, but it didn't come. He tried to ease through from his mind, not think of what he was about to do, or what her fate would be like 24 hours from now after he had introduced the deadly product of American hydrobiologist James Harris. He lay back this night more than any. He needed to sleep, but it didn't come. He tried to erase thought from his mind, not think of that he was about to do, or what her fate would be like 24 hours from now after he had introduced the deadly product of American hydrobiologist James Harris' formula to the water supply at the treatment plant's clear water outflow wells. Polycyclic uns- unsaturated, unsaturated unsaturated alcohol was not a monitor monitor constituent 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 in the water systems, nor could it be detected visually or by test or odor in the thinking water introduced in frozen snowball like form a melt in the already treated water. The effect would be to cause server this digestive uh, digestive system cramping follower followed by intense diarrhea diarrhea and ultimately intestinal bleeding and death within 6 to 24 hours. The moment the amount introduced calculated at 10 parts per million concentration in a glass of drinking water would have sufficient fatal contamination for 100,000 individuals, 10 parts per million, 100,000 deaths. Levin tried to stop his mind from working, but he could not then. In the distance he heard a crackle of thunder. At almost the same time he felt a breeze and saw the curtains below slightly at the open window. A front was approaching, and with it would come wind and warm rain. By the time he got up, It should have passed, and tomorrow would be murky, 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 and even hotter. Not so distant, lightning flashed for an instant, lighting up his hotel room. 8 seconds later, there was a crack of thunder. Levin moved up on an elbow, alert his gaze. Crossing the room, in the corner next to his suitcase was a small refrigerator. Few hotels in China had room refrigerators, especially hotels in the smaller cities like Hefei, away from the major centers. But this one did. It was a reason. He had chosen this hotel and asked for this room. Not only was there a refrigerator, but the appearance itself had a freezer, which was even more important because it was where he had frozen the polycyclic snowballs after he had blended a formula, and where they would remain until he left for the treatment plant in something over 3 hours. Again, lightning flashed for an instant, the light illuminating the hotel sign outside his window went out. Then they came back on. Levin was wide awake now, staring in the dark. The last thing he needed was to have the, the electricity go out.